Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome to our monthly Firewise workshop. This will be our last workshop of 2025. And sorry that Natasha couldn't be here with you today. She is on another of her sister's wedding vacations. Her sister gets to have lots of beautiful weddings, so this time in India, which will be really, really cool. Can't wait to see photos. So she sends her, best wishes, especially with renewals, and we'll jump right into the agenda for today. We have some ground rules. These are the same as always, so you've probably heard them before. If you don't want to be recorded, you can turn your camera off. Generally, keep your mute on just to prevent any background noise while speakers are speaking or other people are asking questions, and then just being respectful of time and topic, which I know this crowd all will be. You probably know me already. My name is Mason Thurman. I'm the programs manager here at the Fire Safe Council.
Oh, and I'm Myra. I'm the communications and outreach specialist. Good to see everybody.
And we'll be helping you today. We'll be your servers today for the Firewise workshop. We are also joined for our Firewise Renewal last minute Q&A by the wonderful Gabe Albarian. Gabe, did you want to say a few words?
Hi, I'm Gabe. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for including me in. I'm so always so tickled to be a part of the conversation with the Ventura Regional Fire Safe Council because I have the great fortune of doing fire prevention throughout LA County and parts of Ventura County, and I oftentimes say that the Ventura Regional Fire Safe Council is the best run fire prevention council throughout all that region that I serve. So we're always in good company with one another, and I love to be a part of this today. So nice to be here and to meet everyone along the way.
Thank you very much, Gabe. Today we'll also do breakout rooms. There's a few networking questions. If we have a small group like this, we can stay in one room, or we might just break in half so that everybody gets a chance to share. That'll just be about 15 minutes, then we'll come back together. Did we learn anything interesting in our breakout rooms? Anything that we want to share with the larger crowd? And then we'll transition to general Q&A. There might be some funding assistance questions that I can help you to answer. There might be, questions not just about renewal, but maybe you're still going through your Firewise application process for the first time. So we'll work to get you set up. Quickly running through some organizational updates here. As you hopefully know, today is the deadline for Firewise renewals. Only communities that applied prior to 2025 must submit a renewal. If you were recognized just this year, you do not have to worry about that until next year. There is a renewal tutorial on YouTube, which I believe is linked on our website, and you can email Firewise NFPA. It might be a little too late in the game if you still have questions for that. So that's why we brought Gabe in today. If you have any smaller things that you want to chat about. Natasha is going to be out of office for the rest of November and the first week of December. Internally, as an organization, we will be having a little planning and set us up for a year of success next year month. So we are not going to be doing a December Firewise monthly workshop. We will still be available, but those one-on-one meetings, we're going to put a pause on just for the month of December, so that we can kind of get our stuff together for next year. And then I think it says, yeah, you can schedule still in advance if you want to meet first thing in January. And we'll still be available mainly via email or phone call if there are truly, time sensitive things that you're working on. If you applied for a Firewise funding request, you will be hearing back from us by mid-December. We received about 20 applications and all of them were great. We're just going through them in stages and staggering so that the billing is a little bit more simplified for us on our operations end. So if you haven't heard from us, that is probably why, but we have had eyes on all of the applications. And then also it might just be that Natasha was quite busy before vacation. I should be able to answer some questions, so you're welcome to email our info@venturafiresafe.org if you are just curious or want some type of update. You'll get a longer update when Natasha returns. And if there's any action needed on your application, we can walk you through, or she will walk you through those steps as well. Okay, so that's enough of me. I'm going to open it up to any renewal questions you might have, and Gabe is available. Thanks,
And
buddy.
Mason, I'll jump in if that's okay. I don't see any questions,
Please
but
do.
I'll just kind of do a brief overview and then kind of say what we can do, what we can continue to do as Firewise communities to continue with the educational aspect, the vegetation removal, the investment. All of these are important aspects of becoming a Firewise community. So I'm a regional coordinator in Ventura County and in LA County as well. And so again, so happy to be here. Part of that, a big part of it is the education effort. I want our Firewise communities to really lean on the Ventura Regional Fire Safe Council for that educational piece. It is not your responsibility to educate yourself, to find all this information in different places, even though the Ventura Regional Fire Safe Council website is a wonderful resource for all of these things. If you have any questions, reach out to the team. They're there for you. They're there to help you educate and be a part of this journey with you in education. There's also all sorts of flyers and handouts that you can order through the Fire Safe Council. There's a form that is provided, and you can get all sorts of wonderful things from the NFPA, from the fire department, from the Ventura Regional Fire Safe Council, all available free of charge to our Firewise communities. Now, when it comes to the capital investments involved with maintaining your Firewise certification, we don't like to say recognition, not certification. We want to be mindful that hours worked also equates to dollars spent, and those are hours worked not only by you as a homeowner, but also by perhaps your landscaper, handy person, contractor. All of those contribute to your Firewise hours. And then they also want to see money spent. Money spent is also your monthly landscaper that comes to your house, one that may come to your community, and then also people doing handiwork around your community or your home. These are all contributable to your Firewise, your continued Firewise recognition. Sorry, I'm going to take a sip of water really quick. Excuse me. So all of those are really important. And now, before, when Firewise recognition was actually happening, they were only looking for dollars spent. But more and more now, they're looking for hours that our homeowners and our contractors and anyone else is willing to give to all of this effort as well. So be mindful of taking account of all of it. You don't have to go around with a clipboard every week or every month and do it. People can submit it to you online whenever they do it, or if they think about it at the end of the year when it's time for renewal. Any time is a good time to submit that information. And those are really the key pieces of renewal. Every 3 years, we'll have to do a reassessment of your property to see where you stand today in terms of fire resistance. That gives us a great baseline understanding on how we can improve on those numbers to make you even more fire resistant into the future. So those are some quick points. Unless anyone has any questions, that's all I have.
Has everybody completed their renewal? Oh yeah, go Nancy.
Great so far. Has anybody put together drone photographs of what we'd like to do in our hillside neighborhood in Ventura is to have a drone go up and kind of look at all of the trees and the brush that's there. Yeah. And we haven't gotten around to it. I mean, we don't have, I know some people, like to have their own things. They're just goofing around, but it'd be nice to have that as looking at what we need to do and what we've done so far, and what anybody talking about that?
I think drone footage is great. I think it gives you a great perspective, but what's even more important are these individual home ignition zone evaluations, or that they'll do, that the Ventura Regional Fire Safe Council will do. When talking specifically, and wonderful question, by the way, thank you for the question. Let me say that first. When talking about trees specifically and proximity to structures, we want to be mindful of two things. We want to make sure that the tree, oh, there's Beth. Hi, Beth. We want to make sure that the trees are cut up 6 feet from the base of the tree, or a third of the height of the tree, whichever is less. And then we also want to make sure that trees are cut back 5 feet from the structure and 10 feet from any chimneys. We don't want those trees to ignite. We want debris to stay clear of roofs and rain gutters. So more so, in my opinion, and Mason, please jump in if you feel otherwise, or if you feel the same. I think that what's more important than drone footage is perhaps proximity of vegetation, and especially trees from your specific structures.
I think actually we were thinking about the wooing. In other words, we weren't taking
Ah,
shots of our neighborhood. We're taking drone shots of the wildlands surrounding our neighborhood. And we have a barranca that's very troublesome because it's difficult to clear because there's multiple jurisdictions and so on and so forth. It'd be nice to be able to document how it is. You know, it was really clear after the fire, but now it's pretty bad.
Mhm.
yeah, what
Yeah.
we're seeing, sorry, Mason, go ahead.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I think there would totally be utility for that type of aerial imagery and data for Firewise communities. I don't, uh, in terms of our program and what we see and what we do and how we interface with other agencies, I do think that that falls under kind of the responsibility more so of the local fire agency. And so I'm going to use the opportunity to tell you a little bit more about one of our different programs and plug it. So one of our staff is working with Ventura Fire Department to draft the Ventura City CWPP. This is the first CWPP that has been written for the city of Ventura, and barrancas are absolutely listed. Each one of them is listed as a priority project. And so coming spring of next year, there will be public input workshops where we'll totally encourage, we'll send all of this out in the newsletter because Myra's really good about putting all of our events out there. But I could see that being kind of an ask of the fire agency, which has a little bit more, resources sometimes in a Firewise community. That doesn't mean that you should not or cannot go ahead and get that data yourselves if you have the means and then contribute it in that direction. But I do see like a nice intersection of those projects and programs because that's something that the fire department is also actively looking into and planning for.
Fantastic. That is fantastic. And so what happens usually in between the two communities is the barranca is on the border of the two communities. So it would be even more important to get our neighbors in the Firewise group. So we could both do that. And if you could give us the public endpoint, that would be fascinating. And it would be great because then we could have the people on the Londo that border the barranca have their input in it because of course everybody has to do their 100 feet, but the houses are more than 100 feet higher than the barranca. So the middle of the barranca in Clearpoint, the middle of the barranca is, we call it a mohawk. It's full. It's nobody's problem. Of course, it's everyone's problem. But
Absolutely.
anyway, great idea. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I jump in first? Can I jump in?
Yeah, please.
Hi everyone. I'm Beth Burnham. I'm another regional coordinator for Firewise, and mentored Gabe. I've been in the space of community organizing for wildfire preparedness for 15 years. I got into it when I lived in Topanga. I now live in Santa Monica, and I mostly work on the Eastern Sierra, but have worked with Gabe in Pasadena, another community with a very large barranca that they call the Arroyo. I was in early October, I was on a Fireaside webinar. Fireaside is a software tool used by lots of fire departments to track their defensible space inspections, among other things. But they have begun to move into the space that we all exist in. And so they've now created a module. I didn't used to like their software because it was really agency oriented. And now it's got a lot more community orientation. There's a good chance that the Ventura Fire Department or the Ventura County Fire Department actually uses Fireaside. And Mason, that might be something you want to check into, because if they are using it at Fireside's webinar, they were introducing this risk model. Now, this is stuff that happens at a scale that's way beyond the scale that I like to work at, because it's really the massive landscape scale, but this is where you're talking about. And the question that this company that now has a module that ties into Fireside, the company's name is Xyloplan, Xyloplan. And what they say is Xyloplan uses risk modeling of wildfire behavior to prioritize where home hardening and defensible space budgets and efforts should focus. So what they're arguing is that at a big scale, drone flown footage, computer modeled and analyzed, they're looking at where is the likely and most vulnerable places. This is what fire agencies want to be thinking about. Where should they orient their resources? And then which houses are the front line, which then gets down into our work, which is how do we prioritize which homes we take through and actually do home ignition zone evaluations of and recommend hardening choices. So it was an interesting webinar. It's at a scale that I don't typically think about, but it really does relate to what you guys are talking about. And so and I know that webinar is YouTubed. And so you could find the combination. So, okay. And it's just trying to get resources that begin to get people thinking in ways that are, you're asking really important questions. Now, if you can learn the language to talk to the fire agency, that's really going to drive that question. And who owns that? Who owns that Veronica? It might be a land trust. I work with land trusts. I'm on the board of a land trust. And you need to start working with these land trusts that think that they want to keep everything in their natural state. And we all understand this is not natural. And so then you get to start having different kinds of conversations. So happy to help out. Glad I stepped into this meeting. Every so often I drop in, and nice to see you guys.
Mm-hmm. And to complement what Beth is saying as well, and thank you, Beth. That's a beautiful explanation as always. But to complement what she's saying too is we're seeing communities being affected by an organization called, for example, COSCA, the Caneo Open Space Protection Agency. And we're seeing COSCA now lean into fire prevention efforts now with our Firewise communities, because this is a group effort now, instead of someone pointing fingers at them and saying, do this to help us, and we're not going to do anything at all. So as long as it's a community collective effort, I think these land agencies are a lot more receptive to our messaging moving forward. So thank you for all of that.
Hey,
Yes.
real quick, Ventura County Fire has a drone program. It's relatively new, about a year old, but they're very active. A friend of mine actually runs the program, and they work on to make this try and make this short. We are Ventura County is state firefighters, if you will, or CAL FIRE, because we are contracted with them. We're called a contract county. They will go on to state lands, which is SRA or LRA, local responsibility area, if it's on or threatens state land. So I'm sure we could coordinate that between Ventura Fire and Ventura County Fire to get a drone up and get that information that you need, because I know they want their program to grow. And this is the perfect place to do that, other than an actual incident where they use it often now.
Awesome. Jim, could I follow up with you after and have our planning specialist connect and see if your contact can awesome.
Sure. Yeah, I'll get in touch with him. I'll talk to you and we'll see if we can get something going.
Yeah, they're actively developing the CWPP, so I think that would be great. I do appreciate all of the shares and this really great conversation thus far. I wanted to give one last opportunity for any renewal specific questions while we have Gabe available. Maybe there's any, feedback from going through the renewal process. You might be done, but there was a sticking point that you could use more resources on next year. We're happy to field that feedback as well.
Ben and I just did our 3-year renewal,
The action plan.
the action plan, and renewed, and it's easy. It's pretty easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we have always liked the way the NFPA has put it forward. It's straightforward and it helps organizations, and it makes so much sense. So yeah.
That's great. I'm so glad to hear that. It's been a lot to thank you for that feedback, by the way. It's been a lot easier for us as well. They keep on changing the format from a Word document to now a PDF so that it's easier to edit. but it's meant to be easy. We want our community members and our homeowners to lean into this effort. We don't want to make any part of it difficult. If you find any difficulty with any part of it, if anyone, yourself or anyone else on this call or otherwise, please contact the Ventura Regional Fire Safe Council. They'll put you in touch with Natasha or myself. We're happy to help you. But yes, we want to make this effort in fire prevention and home hardening as easy as possible so that everyone can lean into their fullest capability.
Wonderful. Thank you. Last call, going once, going twice. All right. Thank you so much, Gabe. If you are interested in sticking around, and Beth as well, as a regional coordinator, I'm sure you have questions that you can answer too. You guys are welcome to stick around. We'll be doing a breakout session with the resident leaders and other community members here, and then we'll be opening up for a general discussion and Q&A later. But
sounds good. I'll stay.
Okay, awesome. Thanks. Okay. So we'll be doing breakout rooms. We have a few questions that we've posed, and you can answer all of them, go around however you like. I and Myra will be popping in to a few if there's any need for technological help or facilitation assistance. If you have a different topic that is related to Firewise but more useful for you, we are not going to police exactly what you're talking about. The idea here is just to make sure that you all are sharing information, lessons learned, maybe sharing some inspiration, creative ideas. It's really awesome to hear events that other communities have put together or ways that they have chosen to spend their funding assistance or goals that they might have. So we just want to create those networks amongst you guys, because I know that Natasha is not always able to get back to you right away, and we want you to have other resources available too, peer-to-peer. So anyway, it's casual. That's my point. We'll leave you in there for about 15 minutes. If you're running out of things to talk about, you should have a button that says return to main room. And if everybody comes back to the main room early, we can transition to the next topic. But hopefully you guys will have lots of lively conversation within your room. And then please pick one person from your group to just give us a quick recap when we rejoin the main room. We'd love to hear anything cool that came out of your conversations. So with that, these are the questions, and Myra's also going to paste these into the chat to make sure that everybody can see when you're in your breakout room. If you're a recognized community, we're curious about how you went about hanging up your free Firewise signs. If you don't know what those are, because you're not quite recognized yet, hopefully there will be a recognized community in your group, or myself or Myra, to tell you a little bit more about those and what to look forward to. We would love for you to talk about any great tips you have for garnering participation. That continues to be a struggle for many communities, so we thought it'd be great to share those lessons learned. And then any personal stories. Has anybody in your community or yourself, received an insurance discount, and what was that process like? Again, if there's other things you'd like to talk about, you are totally encouraged to do so. If you just start talking about, like restaurants, where you're going this weekend, that's going to show in your recap though. Yeah. So I'm going to sort you all into breakout rooms real quick. Just give me a moment. Sweet. Looks like we have almost everybody. Yeah, everybody back in the main room. I'll pass it off to our room 1. Hopefully you remember which room you're in. You're our room 1 recap spokesperson.
I'll recap. So we talked about the free Firewise signs, and by the way, when you do your 3-year renewal, they ask if you want more signs. Oh, I will.
And indeed, you can always get more signs, because signs disappear. So you could always ask for more signs.
Okay. Yes. So we did that, and then the best tip for garnering participation in our Firewise group, it was assessments, home hardening assessments by the Ventura Regional Fire Safe Council. Once people get that, they are on board. They get it, right? And it seems more doable when the people spend an hour and say, these are the things you need to do. And then also garnering participation is, small groups. It's one-to-one. It's person to person is how you garner them. I mean, it's a slow process, but. And then what was this one?
Oh, maybe the suggestion of maybe having Ventura Fire Safe come and do a group workshop or a group walk around in your neighborhood. That was also a good suggestion.
Yeah. And
And
then,
then the final suggestion was Ventura Regional Fire Safe Council, you guys ought to give yard signs to everybody who's received a home evaluation, home hardening evaluation, because that really generates that public statement of I've done this and you can too. And you guys can, put that phone number on it or a QR code on it and and start building community that way, because it clearly makes all the difference.
And so we've actually taken ours down for 2 months, like during the holiday period. And then we'll put them up again because they're there all the time and people ignore them, right?
Yeah.
And so
Again, they'll notice them again.
Okay, right. And then insurance discounts, we know State Farm, and we've gotten discounts of up to 7%, 2% for being in Firewise community, and then the percentages for having a certain roof, no deck, and
Double pane windows, so on and so forth.
yeah.
That's
So we have gotten that, and many people have asked us for our recognition, yearly recognition, so they too can go to their insurance people and get a discount.
Scan up that certificate so they can show they're in a Firewise community.
very cool. Awesome. Thanks for sharing and thank you for the suggestions. Love hearing those too. I've noted those down. Awesome. Anything else from room 1? Great. Room 2, who's our spokesperson?
Jim's going to tell us a little bit about the IBHS inspection program that he was talking about.
Let's go, Jim.
Okay, I got unmuted. IBHS, they do have an inspection process, and this was through my insurance agent stating that the only way I could get a discount was to go through them and have an inspection done from anywhere to $3,000 to $6,000 to make that inspection on the improvements that I've made. And I know that Assembly Speaker Steve Bennett, is working on a certificate through CAL FIRE to identify that you comply with the Zone 0 and the various requirements, the California Building Code, Chapter 7A, things like that. But bottom line is the only way to get a discount other than Firewise is through IBHS. And my insurer or my agent said that the best way to get a discount was through the Firewise program. So that's my hat off to Firewise.
And then we also wanted to bring light to individual home hardening efforts as well. So there's 2 ways, we were talking about it, there are 2 ways that you can get discounts through the Safer from Wildfires initiative that the California Insurance Commissioner's Office has put forward. The first is through assembling a Firewise community, and the second is to be part of the fire risk reduction community list. So that's all of Ventura County is through the fire department, and they've done that. You can find the link for that if you Google exactly what I said, and I believe we put it. Mason may have put it in the chat. If you are able to Google that, then you can download that PDF document and send that off to your insurance broker as well, or agent. And then the other items are all the individual home hardening efforts that we do: dual pane windows, box eaves, no wood attachments, metal gutters, all the things we know and love in fire prevention. You are eligible for discounts on those items as well.
Just to be clear, the IBHS program is Wildfire Prepared Home, is what it's actually called.
Yes, that is listed in the chat as well. Just the names, no links yet.
Right.
And then the signs, we had 2 communities that were in process. We didn't really have a discussion, much of a conversation about that. But then garnering participation, I often advocate, not only through the HIZs or the home ignition zone evaluations, as Beth brought up, and bringing signs available to that, but education, making it available to people. We always see a slow adoption of things, but we just really have to we have to lead by example. Our resident leaders, our residents who want to lean into this effort, lead by example and showcase your great work, whether it be through a sign on the front of your lawn that you've done HIZ or home ignition zone evaluation, or just by showcasing it at a meeting. That's the best way to do it. And that's it for us.
Thanks, room 2 and room 1. Those are both great shares. And I hope that everybody found the conversation valuable. Okay, now we're just going to open it back up for the last 10 minutes here to general Q&A. We already had one question in the chat, so I'll go ahead and answer that. Susan asked, what is FireSafe's position on Trident Ember defense devices, i.e. defense kit, Eve's defense kit, pool pump kit? The short version of the answer is that our FireSafe Council follows direction from the Office of the State Fire Marshal, as well as our local agencies. And we, in our home assessments and the education we provide, emphasize the effectiveness and the evidence-based solutions around passive resilience measures, meaning things that you can do to your home that do not require any type of activation during a wildfire. So if you received a home assessment from us, you know that that includes different materials that you can use for your siding, or a dual pane window instead of a single pane window. We'll talk to you about what material to leave on the roof in terms of like the actual roof, but we do not endorse any specific sprinkler systems or active resilience measures. I actually don't know that I have a ton of familiarity with the Eve's defense kit and pool pumps as well. We have facilitated conversations regarding pool pumps specifically between Firewise community members and the fire department, because sometimes the fire department during their suppression efforts does want to know about that information. But all that our role really is to connect you, to the relevant VCFD or other local agency representatives who can field that information, because we're not super involved in suppression, as you probably know. I told you that was a short version of the answer. A little bit, it was not short. There's a little bit more to it. Our board is currently reviewing a decision for us to make a position on lists that are already in existence. So we are probably in the near future going to have on our website links to products and vendors mainly noted in the Office of the State Fire Marshal, anything that's already been approved by them. And so we're really deferring to the professionals and the experts. But that remains to be seen. There's not a real update on that yet, and that's why we don't have any products listed on our website. We do have vendors listed on our website, but through those listed in the contractor directory were trained by us in home hardening and or defensible space principles, and we cover those passive resilience measures. I'm going to stop talking because I'm probably providing way too much information, but I know it's an important question. So. Any other questions about anything?
Looks like Ben and Nancy.
I have a question. I know we started and we got a lot of help doing the fire risk assessment. And I want to know, how are the other 39 new groups, how have they done their fire risk assessment? So
Like what did the process look like for them when they developed it with Natasha? Oh, gotcha. Okay, so you might know that this year we launched a new program that Natasha has been spearheading, and it's called the RAP Workshop. So it's a risk assessment action plan workshop. They're usually 1 to 3 parts, and that was in an effort to streamline the development of risk assessments and action plans because coordination, scheduling, site visits can all be really difficult when you are working, with 20 plus, 30 plus, and on to, 40 communities and contacts in a year. And so where possible, they're held virtually. People also have the option to come into our office and meet in the conference room if they prefer an in-person option. Typically, the information, I would say, for most cases, the information needed for a risk assessment can be provided from the residents' kind of know-how, from photos and from videos. In those cases where a site visit is necessary, Natasha will take that on, or our contacts over at Ventura County Fire have been helpful with that too. They're very supportive of the Firewise program and definitely want more communities. So sometimes Mike Warford will go out and help with assessments as well. And occasionally some communities make direct contact with the fire department separate from us. And so they get a risk assessment walkthrough just from the fire department. So there's those happening too. But generally, for the communities that we have been working with this year, it has been through that RAP workshop format where all like resident leaders and the Firewise board are invited to join. And Natasha just walks them through each of the questions and kind of answers them together, provides a little bit of interpretation, and then they accomplish whatever they can accomplish within the meeting, and then what the leftovers are kind of homework for the community.
got it. Okay, that's a great way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
It's scaled up quite a bit.
I'm going to jump in really quick on this, and Beth knows how I feel about this because I've had very heated conversations with CAL FIRE about it. I'm going to say if you, I would engage the fire department to help you on this. There's a wonderful, the Ventura Regional Fire Safe Council is a wonderful resource of information and has great videos for you, but we don't want to just depend on what we may think may be working or may not be working in our communities. Engage the fire department. Mike Warford is a wonderful resource. He will come out, and if Natasha deems that it's good enough, no, sorry, I shouldn't say that. If it is warranted that she come and visit as well, then she will as well. But please engage a fire official, whether it be a local fire department or a Ventura County Fire, when doing your assessments.
Yeah, absolutely, Gabe. I'm sure if Natasha would hear, she would also have included that too. Okay, Zig, I see that. Oh, sorry, Beth, go ahead.
I was going to say that I absolutely think that engaging a fire agency is critically important, and it's actually different in Southern California than in Northern California for the way CAL FIRE implements Firewise. In Northern California, they expect you actually to make a spreadsheet of like 20% or actually 30% of the homes in your proposed community, and then go through and rate and give a percentage compliance with each of the 12 factors, and then come up with a community number. You've done it on your own. And what really bothers me is Firewise is the entry program for learning about and organizing your community. So you're asking people who most likely don't know anything to do their own assessment. And that's really, really pathetic. So I am well qualified to do these assessments. Gabe and I have both been taking the class that CAL FIRE requires in order to do them. My preference, without any hesitation, is I want the fire agency there because they love the opportunity to communicate with a group of people. And actually, my preference is to have as many people from that community attend this community walk around as can be there, because it is just this very natural. They're wearing the same uniform and they're driving the same trucks that are going to come when they come and do their defensible space inspection, but they're wearing an entirely different hat. and they're totally human and compassionate and caring, and they're there to answer every question you could possibly answer. And, I just want all the community members there. So I'm a big
And they're
believer in getting your fire agency there.
so true, Beth, and they're not there to provide violations. They're there to
No,
educate. That's
they're
it.
totally there to educate, and I've never seen any issue with that. And it is confusing to the communities.
Yeah.
But
Thank you. Thank you for that. I think that's an important perspective to share too with all the experience you have. We have time just one more question from Zig, and then we'll let you all get back to your Friday afternoon.
Yeah, question. This is probably for you, Mason. I submitted the action plan, and I got back a statement from Firewise. They're looking for what our total investment was for 2025. And
Okay.
so there's two items there. Says total, and then there's what's required. The total is one thing, because we just did trail clearing and we spent $40,000 doing that, so no problem with that. But then it says per dwelling, and it says required $33.49. How do I show per dwelling? I mean, some people have done home hardening, and there's issues in the volunteer work. But I'm not sure how to answer that question.
Yeah, I'll actually pass this off to Gabe because he has much more experience in the ins and outs of it.
Thank you, Mason. Yeah, you're not, Zig, I don't want you to think that you have to knock on everyone's door and collect this information.
Actually,
It's
I
just-
have 175 doors to knock on.
And you don't even have to knock on that many. What you just need to do, what Firewise would like to know, especially upon your application, is what efforts have been taken to date. That also includes your landscaper. If one has a landscaper in their yard, trimming back trees, and then also vegetation around the area. So they want to know that. Also be mindful that they're going to ask for hours worked too. We're seeing that more and more now, not just money spent. So the hours worked by the landscapers, handy people, or contractors that are helping you in your fire prevention efforts should be included.
Okay. Gail, I understand that. That thing is I've got a bill from the company that did the trail maintenance and clearing. Now I'm talking about individual homeowners.
Correct.
How do I go about trying to get that information from individual homeowners?
So you're not expected to. You could take the average. So let's just say you spend
How do I know somebody
$100.
has done something? That's because I go around the neighborhood and nobody's done anything.
I understand. And what we can start with is vegetation management. So if, let's say, someone pays $100 a month for a landscaper, we can average that. If you take a poll of a few homeowners and say a few homeowners have spent $100, you can multiply that times the number of homeowners and add that as your money spent for homeowner contribution for the year. Now, moving forward, when doing home hardening, as you grow the program of home ignition zone evaluations, and then also bring more education to your community, you can very well integrate this understanding and hours worked and money spent on fire prevention efforts for your recertification for next year.
Okay, I think you're giving me some good hints on what to do here. Back to Mason, how do I provide you guys with that information for this year?
When did they kick it back to you, this application? Or
The
that?
17th, this
The
month.
17th? Okay. If you are amenable to waiting until Natasha returns, has she been helping you throughout the process so
Yes.
far and submitting? Okay. I think your best course of action would probably just be to wait till she returns from vacation, and she can guide you on exactly like how to make sure that what is it called? Invoice is uploaded and the questions are answered kind of in the way that CAL FIRE wants. Otherwise, within your portal, you should be able to upload that documentation. Gabe,
And just so we know,
Gabe,
there's
why
no
don't you
invoice.
work with Zig offline
I
and get
can,
this
yeah.
solved?
Okay.
You don't need Natasha to solve this problem.
Yeah.
Zig needs to just clean up his application, and he's not quite understanding the question
Sure.
that
Yeah,
Firewise is asking to be completed. So, yeah.
Happy to do that. There's nothing that needs to be, we'll work through it, Zig. I'll work with you on this, and Mason will connect us. Thank you, Mason.
Okay,
And thank you,
sounds
Beth.
good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you guys so much. That puts us at time. So we're going to go ahead and close the workshop. Thank you so much for attending our last workshop of 2025. We look forward to seeing you in the new year and hope you have a really happy holiday season. Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody. In the spirit of Thanksgiving, I'm thankful for you all.